Sorry, but This is Michael McKean, a.k.a. Morris Fletcher, a.k.a. Chuck McGill. You know who I am. But it's time for Inside the Gilliverse with Eric Broadbent.
You're watching Inside the Gilliverse, talking all things Breaking Bad, El Camino, and Better Call Saul. Brought to you by the Royal Baubles Collection at bobbleheads.com. For all your favorite characters from the Gilliverse, shop the Royal Baubles Collection at bobbleheads.com. Also brought to you by Rode Microphones, the official microphone supplier of Inside the Gilliverse. See their entire lineup today at Rode.com. Now please welcome your host, Eric Broadbent.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Season 2, Episode 6 of Inside the Gilliverse, where we talk all things Breaking Bad, El Camino, and Better Call Saul. My name is Eric Broadbent, and it comes with great pleasure tonight to welcome to this evening's guest. You know him as Rich Schweikart, Schweikart and Coakley from the great television show we always talk about, Better Call Saul, actor Dennis Boutsikaris. Dennis, how are you?
I'm good. It was nice to hear Michael McKean's voice at the beginning there. I want to show you that the best souvenir I've taken from the show was the first episode of the 4th season, his funeral.
Yes.
The prop department made funeral cards that they handed. I mean, the prop department is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, but they made these funeral cards, and you can see, it says, in memory of Charles McGill. And then on the back, I mean, it's so detailed. There's a little prayer and there's a little message from the family. And the thing is, it says Charles L. McGill. Do we know what L, his middle name, L? Does anyone know what the L stands for? I have no idea.
We need to know that.
Somebody out there knows, I bet.
Super fans out there, we're calling on you. What is the L?
Charles L. McGill. Lionel?
Because JMM is James Morgan McGill, right? So do we know that?
The other thing, Coakley, you said Schweikart and Coakley. Where's Coakley?
I know, right? Someone asked that earlier.
Decided that Coakley was dead, kind of like Marley, Scrooge and Marley.
Okay, yeah, all right, that's good.
Dead, so we were going to change Schweikart and Schweikart.
Yeah. But, that's a good one. We're going to jump into something really cool here in just a moment, but we're getting some super chat questions coming in already, and I'm going to go find that right now. I got to find that. Is that scroll? From Josh Gordon says, what was the pocket dialogue we did not hear as to why Kim wanted to quit? So we heard about pocket dialogue from Rhea Seehorn back in the mailroom episode way back, season 1. So was there pocket dialogue recorded during that scene?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
The scene was always meant to not be heard.
Okay.
I'm remembering very clearly that there was pretty much Ray, who's, we can talk about her. She's magnificent. She was very into telling me that she just had to leave, and I said, what? And I think that was pretty much it, because it was very short.
Yeah.
The way that I remember it was very short, but there was no pocket dialogue for that. There has been pocket dialogue for other scenes that I've been in that were given to Ray like an hour before. And she would, be panicked, sort of. But luckily, a lot of times, pocket dialogue is filmed from a distance, like through a window or through a door. So you can have the script right there and cheat a little bit.
Look down at it for reference, yeah.
Pocket dialogue is scary because, oh no, pocket dialogue.
Yeah. I hadn't even heard the term until she explained it. And there was ample recording there, and all we were seeing in that scene I'm referring to was the sound of a photocopier, just. But there was conversation between Jimmy and Patrick, Jimmy and Howard. Yeah, way back.
I thought you meant our scene. Yeah.
No, not in that one.
Our scene, she comes in. She wants to talk to me. She comes in. I sit behind the desk. She closes the door, and you just sort of see. I don't even think you see her. You just sort of see me at the desk going, what?
Yeah.
And then she leaves. There was a little more to the scene than they actually showed. I think they cut early because I think I had some more dialogue as she's walking away, but I don't think they used it.
Okay. Yeah, cut it for timing. Here's a super chat question.
Sometimes they cut because they're geniuses.
True.
You film something at one point and the scripts are, I'm just repeating what everybody says. The scripts are great and it's all amazing. Do you remember the party scene? I want to say it was in season 4 where Jimmy McGill comes with Ray to a staff party at Schweikart and Coakley. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's making all of these ideas about, we should go skiing. We should get
Aspen.
jackets. Come on. He's making a real big ass of himself.
Yep.
And the camera sort of slowly zoomed in onto me with a very serious face, taking it very seriously. And in the filmed version, but I broke out laughing. I went, oh, this guy, oh, he's fun. And I walked away.
Yeah.
But in the script, I mean, in the show, when they edited it, they cut before I laughed. I thought that is brilliant because it doesn't get him off the hook.
Yes.
Because the next scene that you saw was her and him in the car driving home in silence, you know, her mortified at his behavior and him thinking, what did I do wrong?
So that was smart.
Yeah. So that was kind of interesting. And they do, you know, you see that a lot where the choices, you know, as an actor, you don't make the choices. The choices are made by the brilliant editors. And sometimes you go, oh yeah, that makes much more sense than what we did. And I could see when you're sitting in the editing room.
Yeah.
Do that. Yeah.
That's someone I haven't spoke to yet, some of the editing team there. I want to get them on as guests as well too, just because people loved it when I've had like I know Michael Slovis and Marshall Adams on, you know, with the cinematography and things like that. And the editors, I mean, as you've just said, what they do, you know, bring in a great piece of work already that's tremendous already to life. And I'd love to get their input. I know the fans will love that too. So we'll talk.
I think what the editors do is they assemble a cut.
Mm-hmm.
And then they bring in the director, and the director looks at it and sort of, you know, tweaks it or changes it or, you know, says fine. But those editors are really the key to so much of the show. I mean, when I look at the shows, you know, after shooting them, and then a few months go by and then I finally see them, I think these are like little films.
Yeah.
So much like little films. They're just so, and you were talking about that last week about the conference room scene that we did, that we were all, Aaron, Rex, and Ray, and Bob. And the time that they took to make it, I mean, they futzed so much with these vertical blind curtains. I think they were vertical blind.
I think so.
It was like getting the light exactly right. And by the way, that was the first time when we shot that scene. That was the first time that we all saw the commercials that he had made. They showed them to us, and we were dying laughing. They were so funny. So funny. I couldn't wait for, you know, I couldn't tell anybody, but I
know. You know, before I get into the next super chat question, I want to jump over and say some birthday wishes here in a second as well, too. But this is kind of a nice milestone for me tonight, too, because that was one of my favorite. First of all, Tom is one of my best friends. I love him to death. He wrote the Wexler versus Goodman. And that scene, there's a scene where I froze it and whatever, and you see all of you guys. There's Jimmy, there's yourself, there's Kim, there's Kevin, and Paige. As of tonight, I've had all of you on the show from that scene. That is very, very special to me.
All right.
Yeah. Now, Bob's only been here for 15 minutes. He came on as a surprise guest and crashed our party when we had Peter Gould on, but that was fun because we kept a secret from Peter, and it was a nice surprise. Threw him for a loop. But we have a super chat question from Lisa Love. She says, Rich was one of the only people to call Kim on her shit and even apologize. Do you feel it was authentic or faked?
Kim apologized?
Rich was the only one of the people to call Kim on her shit. And and she apologized.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I think in the moment, my sense of that was that Rich, admired Kim's talent so much and wanted her to be part of this team, and was a little confused at her behavior. And, you know, it troubled him. He didn't want her to quit.
Yeah.
Actually horrified that she was quitting. So I guess I think that I would say that Rich probably hoped that it was for real, but always in the back of his head knew that she was in a relationship with Jimmy / you know, but didn't know that they got married.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. I mean, you know what? I didn't even know it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, see, that's what I would love to tell you about this, but you're going to do birthdays.
Yeah, let's do that in a second. We're going to jump back over to some super chat questions as well too. So obviously got to say happy birthday, belated birthday to the captain of the ship, Vince Gilligan. I believe it was Thursday. I've kind of lost track. Maybe it was Wednesday because today's Friday. I think it was Wednesday. Anyways, this week, Vince Gilligan. So a happy belated birthday to the captain of the ship. He'll be on not next Friday, but the Friday after. So check that out. And maybe if I could be so kind, or you could be so kind if I ask you, I've got my beautiful better half, Nicole. It's her birthday tomorrow, turning 50. Maybe we can have a happy birthday to her.
Happy birthday.
All right. Thank you. All right. So
one of the directors of Saul, the director who directed the Pixar film WALL-E.
Yes.
He directed one, maybe more than that, but I was in one of them. And he told us that at Pixar, when it's somebody's birthday, they sing happy birthday as slow as possible.
Oh, really?
And it became this very strange joke. And then after a while, they do it all the time. They go, happy birthday. He said, because when you sing happy birthday, by the time you get to the second line, you go, God, I wish the song was over.
Okay.
So he said, it's like a little thing they do all over Pixar. They sing.
Isn't that something? It sounds
very funny.
It sounds laborious and sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's like, really, do I really want to celebrate a birthday again?
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna tell me a story in just 1 second. There's a super chat from Ragava. Says, hi Dennis, love your performance. You had so many one-on-one scenes with Ray. What was your most memorable or challenging / fun scene you recorded? And that could be a tough one.
No, not so tough at all. They were all fun because of her. I mean, let's just go down this path for a second. There's nobody better than Ray. There's people that are different, but there's nobody better. And her work ethic is really admirable and so different than 99.9999% of TV work that I've seen around me in my life. I mean, just last year, I won't. But I've been in situations where the actors that you're working with are reading off cue cards, and when it's time to turn around on you, they go off and you have to do it with the stand-in because they're too busy not learning their lines with the cue card. So I admire her so much. So the scene that it was the first scene I had with her.
Okay.
It was the scene in the restaurant that Mike Slovis directed, where I tried to woo her to come to to Schweikart and Coakley, throwing all these things at her. I offered to pay for her college. I told her this long story about my early days myself as a young lawyer, and how I didn't think that they had her back at HM and M. So in the next episode, she came in for an interview, but she didn't take the job. But that was that was long. It was like 7 or 8 pages of a monologue.
Yeah.
And that's another thing you never get in television.
Yeah.
Anywhere. I mean, 8-page monologue. I was scared to death. But she was great. She was very helpful. And she wrote me a long letter afterwards. I mean, it's a very positive place.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
We'll do another quick question, and I want to come back because there is a story you want to...
I'm not seeing these questions in the chat.
Oh, no, you know why? Because you're seeing that link I sent you in the Zoom chat. If you click that, it might open up another browser, and it may actually throw a loop for you. You can try it, see what happens, but it's going to open up.
If it disconnects, let's have a nice life.
Yeah,
okay.
Try it and see what happens.
I see. Okay, I got it. Okay, yep. So somehow I have to.
And then you can change that from live chat or from top chat, it might say, to live chat. You want to try to get it to live chat, so it'll be the most recent questions from people.
I see. Maybe I shouldn't do this. It'll be distracting.
It's hard to say. I'll make sure I funnel them to you. And we're also getting them from our good moderator head as well too, Karina. She's voice texting me some of the questions as well too. So after we do this question here from Pinterest Fail Mom, we're going to come back and talk about your first experience. And that's something I was going to ask you later on in the program, but you told me such a wonderful story off the air, start of it. We'll share that with everybody now. So there's two super chats. Pinterest Fail Mom. Actually, this is super chat from Jen Stevens first. She says, what was it like to play Mozart on Broadway, and the first American to play that, right?
Yeah. I was the first American. I was Mozart, and Frank Langella was Salieri. And, it was hard.
Yeah.
When I look back at it now, I can't imagine doing it. But we rehearsed in England at the National Theatre in England. He and I were there together. And then we came back and we did it for a year on Broadway. And so, like anything, it had ups and downs. And Frank is, what's the best way to say this? Frank is challenging.
Yeah.
At best, or at worst. At best, he's a terrifically funny, very funny guy. He told me a funny story that I always remembered, that when the first movie he did was 12 Chairs with Mel Brooks in Yugoslavia. And Mel Brooks found out that the word for please was molem, so he would laugh hysterically when he would go, roll 'em, molem.
That's good. Yeah,
Frank is quite the raconteur.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was very hard. I mean, the play is very different than the movie.
Yeah.
And just in terms of the way it's structured, and it was big shoes to fill. And I think with something like that, when you're replacing on Broadway, you're coming into a machinery that's already, it's like a big clock, and you're just like a cog in it. So you have to sort of weave around everybody else and kind of learn, and they've been doing it for a while, and then you come in. So it was a lot to learn. I had a wig that I had to wear, a couple of wigs.
Yeah.
That was kind of difficult. So
I had a note about, I'm glad this was asked tonight, because I had a note about your Broadway performance, and a lot of people I talked to that have had theater experience love it, because there's no safety net. You're flying by the seat of your pants sometimes, literally, and you don't, okay, let me do that again. Let's try another take. You got, it's sink or swim sometimes, right?
Yeah. I mean, you have much more control of your performance than when you do TV or film, because in TV and film, you don't know if they're going to play a violin underneath what you're saying, or whether they're going to cut to the other person while you're talking, or whether they're going to cut your line at all.
That's right.
So, I mean, so you have a lot more control that way.
Yeah.
And also it's incredibly satisfying. I mean, that's, if you like once a week, if it's pretty good,
Yeah.
if you have a good night.
I've
done a number of Broadway plays.
Good. Yeah, and check out the IMDb for other stuff that's not Broadway, but it's absolutely amazing as well too. And something that's not Broadway. Here's a comment that I like here from Pinterest Fail Mom. She says, "One of the first films I ever saw was Batteries Not Included. What are the differences?" And I love that. What are the differences you have found in shooting a film versus shooting a TV show? And we've got theater, television, and the big screen. You want to share maybe?
First of all, Batteries Not Included was great. It was a really fun experience. And I got to really be close to Hume Cronin and Jessica Tandy. Not so much, she was tough to know, but Hume Cronin I did. And Elizabeth Pena, who passed away a couple of years ago. It was my first, big film. And it was a great experience. I'm sorry, I'm not particularly articulate about it, other than to say it was a great experience. And it was but there was a lot of things about it. Like, it was one of the first ILM films, Industrial Light and Magic.
Yeah.
That was not a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
They had just sort of started doing that. Lucas actually came down a few times because the little robots, I don't know if people know the movie, there's these little spaceships that come and save these people in this tenement building. And the spaceships, it wasn't like today, it was CGI. The computer thing was not quite there yet.
Yeah.
There was, like, they had the spaceships dangling on these wires, and they'd cover the wires with flowers so that the light wouldn't reflect off of it. And then they'd have to reshoot. We did some stuff on green screens, or we'd have to practice. A couple of us going duck, like over and over, duck. And the guy would walk around with the spaceship, like, here, just follow your eye, and then we'd have to do it like 1,000 times before we got it right.
Oh wow!
So it wasn't these days where you could just and then stick it in. So it was a lot of fun. We shot in New York and in Los Angeles, and part of Batteries Not Included is the tenement building burns down, and then the spaceship people rebuild it, but it burns down. And what they built a 3-sided facade of an apartment building on the Lower East Side, like on Avenue D and 3rd Street. The neighborhood community people were very upset that Spielberg was burning down an apartment.
Oh, geez.
They needed this housing, and they had to go to a community meeting and say, folks, it was fake. It was, we built.
It probably looked really legit, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, if you see the movie,
yeah.
Absolutely. It's a very sweet film. I'm very happy that I was involved with it.
Yeah, that's something obviously for sure would be always close to your heart. A good, nice story, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's sweet. And Hume Cronin was a delight. Amazing person.
That's awesome. This is from a super chat from Nat Romero. Nat says, do you feel that Rich was too good to Kim, like unbelievably so? Was Kim such a good lawyer that he would have her at all costs? And P.S., you are great on the show.
Well, thank you, Matt. Was that
Nat Romero, Natalie Romero.
Thank you, Nat. Well, I think I said this before. I think he believed in her. I think that one of the arcs of Better Call Saul is she is a great lawyer. And that's what's so disturbing about her turning to the dark side, as she did in the last couple episodes of season 5. because is she going to use, I mean, nobody knows, I certainly don't know. I mean, is she going to use her powers for good or ill, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But we saw all through the 5 seasons, she would enjoy when she and Jimmy would do these little, you know, huckstery things in bars and stuff. So, but anyway, I think she was I think that Rick thinks that she's a terrific lawyer.
Yeah. So he wanted her pretty much at all costs, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I wanted her in his law firm, and was willing to put up with her pro bono crap.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Which I think that maybe Schweikart, you know, thought, well, yeah, you have to do that. Schweikart kind of evolved because he was a little bit, the way he was written, because he was a little bit slimy at first.
Yeah.
You know, defending the nursing home, or defending the practices of the nursing home. But slowly he became much more of a menschy kind of guy, because he cared about her.
I greatly admired your character as well too. You know, I mean, I really, really did, and a lot of dialogue, which is good. And do you have a hope? And I mean, I know there's some things you can't say, obviously, and I wouldn't ask you anything that you can't say. But do you have a hope that we'll see Rich on the screen again in season 6?
It's funny that you would say that there's things I can't say. There's nothing that I can say because there's nothing that I know.
There you go. Okay.
I literally know nothing. So
yeah.
I wouldn't even, you know, I would love to be a part of it, but they have a lot of storylines going.
There's a lot,
and that's the first thing. And secondly, they have, here's Breaking Bad, and here's Saul, and we're getting very close to it.
Yeah.
So I don't know where I don't know. I would love to you know, I would hate to even make a guess, because I'm told that when the writers hear something that an actor suggests, they don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, but you've probably heard, and your audience probably has heard, all of these different theories about what happened to Kim.
Yeah, I know.
You know, so I'm very, you know, the hashtag save Kim or don't let Kim die. So I'm, you know, I'm hopeful, but who knows? I love the people, and
that was a question I was going to ask you tonight too. Why, if you know, being a fan of the show outside of the show, everyone's worried about Kim, so you've kind of addressed that. We're all kind of hanging by, sitting, you know, at the edge of our seats, waiting to see what happens to her, right?
Well, because I mean, I'm saying what everybody knows is she disappears.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And then where is she up there at the Cinnabon place? Is she hiding? Is he talking to her on the phone ever?
So many theories, right?
You know, did she go to jail? Is she dead? You know, I heard one podcast who doing a very deep dive into the show, saying, well, at one point in Breaking Bad, he mentions that he was married at one point. So maybe they got married, and I mean, you know, well, they did get married. Yeah. So, but we had 2 wives.
Yeah.
I think was the point. So who knows?
A lot of theories. Sometimes they know more than the writers actually do, you know, because the writers haven't even thought of these things.
Well, yeah. I think they have. There was a great article in the New York Times at the beginning of maybe the 4th season, where it talked about putting together an episode of Saul, and it showed the board with all of the little index cards.
Yeah, Tom's notes.
Did you ever see that picture? Thousands of them. You thought, my God, they're doing a lot of work.
Yeah. All that's Tom and his index cards. That's his baby. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Here is a super chat question from, and I promise I'm going to get to this really cool story in a second, from Rugava. Rugava says, if I may ask another questions, I've admired Rich for how calm and composed he is and how he reads between the lines. What aspects of Rich Schweikart's character do you admire or share in real life? You seem very calm. You pretty calm all the time. Do you have a character trait that you share? I mean, so far, at least, anyways.
I got you fooled.
Yeah.
I got you fooled calm.
It's that T.
I don't share any character traits with
Rich
Schweikart. I don't think, except I in life I'm just adore Ray.
Yeah.
So maybe there's that.
So maybe that, yeah.
I don't think I do. I mean, I don't think I do. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. Although you know, my children think I'm a lawyer, so they don't know I'm an actor.
You've played one enough. It's not just for your first time in Better Call Saul, that's for sure.
No. Well, when you played enough lawyers on television, I went through the period where I started playing a lot of lawyers. You know, you learn how to write your lines on a yellow pad. Yeah. You know, and you learn to make faces like this or scribble. You know, there's a lot. You got like about 10 things you can do while you're listening to witnesses.
Do you think
I never won a case on Law and Order.
No.
I was on it practically every season, and the same lawyer, they gave me the worst defenses.
Oh, come on. You got to have one win.
You can't win against Sam Waterston.
No, true. With all the legal experience you've had, do you think you could get yourself out of a ticket or something like that? You think you could be your own lawyer?
No, I literally about 2 years ago, not a ticket, but a policeman pulled me over for going through a stop. It was like 12 o'clock at night, and I didn't stop completely.
Rolling stop.
Rolling stop, yeah.
Yeah.
And he stopped me, and he looked at me and he went, "Oh, you're that guy on TV." And I went, "Yeah." And he said, "All right, just be careful now." Went, all right. So I was really lucky.
Yep. That's what we call here in Canada, get a jail free card.
I'm wondering which guy on TV he thought I was.
Okay. Yeah.
I pulled into a toll booth once, and this woman said, "You look like that guy on TV," said the toll booth clerk. I said, "Yeah, I am that guy on TV." She said, "Yeah, you look just like him."
Oh, yeah. It's because I am him. Yeah, we have a striking.
I am him. Come on, look at the hat. I got the hat right there.
That's right. Yeah, you look just like him. We have crazy questions coming in by the minute here. I can't keep up with them. This is awesome. This is a super chat from Dilly Diamonds. Dennis?
Dilly Diamonds. Hello,
yes.
Dilly Diamonds.
Tell us about getting the phone call to come back in season 2. Did you know you'd be coming back? Was it a call from a casting or Peter's Vince? Or just watch your first episode from season 1 today?
What was the last part of that?
So
this person just watched
the
first episode today?
Yeah, season your
Rico,
first
or is it called Rico? Yeah. Let me tell you about, first of all, I was thrilled to death to come back. I didn't know that I would, you certainly don't know. And that's part of what I want to tell you is do you have a few minutes?
Let's go for it. This is the story we're trying to get to. Yeah.
When actors audition for things these days, they watermark the script because they don't want the script to get out into the internet. And if it goes on the internet and has your name on it, then they know where it came from. So, to protect the storylines and keep it a surprise, and, rightly so. But also, a lot of times, and specifically with this show, they sent me to do a self-tape in New York, because I live in New York, I'm not out in LA, a made-up scene, not of Schweikart, of just something else, just sort of something with legalese in it, I guess, and something, I can't quite remember. So I had no idea what this show was. I didn't, when they said they're doing this show called Better Call Saul, I said, well, that's a stupid name. What is this? And they said, well, it's Breaking Bad. Oh, I never watched Breaking Bad. I'm more of a Borgen, Downton Abbey guy.
Sure.
But I've gone to the dark side. I'm totally into Breaking Bad. But so I did that, didn't think twice about it. And then a month later, my agent called and said, well, they want you to do this show. And I said, oh, what show is that? And what's that? That's the thing you did the thing for. Oh, okay. Sure. Is it in New York? No, it's in Albuquerque. Albuquerque. Yeah. So you're going to fly to Albuquerque like Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. And then they sent me just the scenes.
Okay.
The scene, if you remember this episode, you may not remember, but the scene was first, there was a scene with he and I having a phone conversation with him in a dumpster.
Beautiful.
Me in my office, because he had sent me this thing on toilet paper.
The magic flute.
The magic. That's right. The magic flute.
Yeah.
And then the scene at Chuck's house.
Yeah.
Where we negotiate, and then they pull this, they ask for $20 million. That's all that I got. Nothing else about the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I get there, and I want to say this too. I got to the hotel, and most of the times when you go to a film set on location or a TV set on location, you get like a little stapled thing with like an address for a pizza parlor and where the bank is.
Sure.
And, a map,
Yeah.
But when I got to the hotel, there was a letter from Bob talking about how much he loved. And I want to say this, I knew who Bob Odenkirk was. I watched like 2 or 3 of the Breaking Bad episodes before I went down, just so I saw the shows where he got introduced. So I'd be a little familiar with him. But I knew him, and the minute I saw it, I said, oh yeah, I know that guy from the David Cross, Bob Odenkirk.
Mr. Show. Well,
that scene where David Cross says, can I use this chair for this audition scene, is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Anyway, so I thought, oh, this comedian, he's a comedian. But there was this letter from him that was very sort of heartfelt about how much he was happy to be in Albuquerque, and he liked the people in Albuquerque and hoped he would like it too. A suggestion: rent a bicycle, go down the Rio Grande. I love doing that. And I thought, well, oh, okay. Well, this is not like normally is, all right.
No.
So now I go the next day, I go there, and I was gonna tell you about the smell. The first thing that I see for breakfast, it isn't like, Twizzlers in a bowl and pre-cut carrots like you get a lot of places.
Mm-hmm.
It was quinoa pancakes.
Oh, quinoa. Yeah. We have that here.
Quinoa pancake. Yeah, but you don't see that on a TV set.
No, you do not.
Pancake.
Nope.
So okay. Now I go into the studio, and there's Bob in the dumpster. Hi, how do you do? Nice to meet you. Yes, hi. He gets into the dumpster, and I'm off camera doing the lines for the phone call.
Okay.
And he's in the dumpster, and I'm watching him work, and he's asking for more garbage, give me more crap, throw more. So it's gooey. I'm thinking, this is not a prima donna. This is a guy who's really working hard and trying really hard to do what he's doing. We must have done it. There's nothing about TV. The dirty secret TV is you do 2 or 3 takes and you move on. We must have done it like 15, 20 times. I mean,
wow.
And he wanted more garbage, and I'm off camera. So now we're going to go do is this going on too long? I could really.
No, please keep going.
Okay. So about a few hours later, now we're going to go to my location for my office, and it's going to be dark. And I'm thinking, Bob probably won't be there. There'll be a script person. It's like 10 o'clock at night, and he's there. And he's there to read his off-screen lines. So now I'm going, I don't show it, but I'm thinking to myself, this is like everybody's in a team player kind of mood, and people are working really hard. And I really like, and there was at one point I wanted to use a pen.
Yeah.
They said, oh, you want to use a pen? Okay. They took like 10 pictures of different pens and had to send it to LA to find out which pen I could use.
Really?
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, it had to be, the right period. It had to be what they think of as something Rich Schweikart at that point would have. Okay. So I had that. So the next day, or a couple of days later, now we do Chuck's house. Mm-hmm. First, we do the scene exterior, and there's a point to all this, I promise. So we do the exterior of Chuck's house, where he says to me and these 2 guys who are playing my assistants, you need to take off your watch, and you need to hand in your cell phones. Anything that dings or something, you lick it, we need to take off. Now, I had no idea what he was talking about.
Okay.
My line was, I've heard about this. So I thought it was, I never thought to ask. And I thought, it must be that they don't want any pictures taken, or they're just being, there's a secure thing. Mm-hmm. Didn't know anything about, Chuck's
magnetic condition. Yeah.
Nothing about it. But stupidly, I didn't ask either. The next day, now we're at the studio, this beautiful set of Chuck's apartment to do the scene. And I'm sitting with the other actors. And I'm thinking, it's really dark in here. It's really freaking dark. But I tell this actor, what do you think? It's just, well, maybe they'll turn on the lights when we actually shoot the scene, because we're rehearsing. They don't do it. There's a lot of smoke, fog, so you can have the
see the beams coming in. Yeah.
I think, okay, it's artsy. I guess this is really strange that it's so dark. I never said anything to anybody other than these 2 guys, and we only talked about it for a second. I didn't know that Chuck had a problem until I saw the first couple of episodes when they were on the air. Nobody ever told me anything.
Wow.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. That is, yeah. And that's funny that you mentioned that too, as well, having some smoke, because you see the natural light, or fake light. It's supposed to be natural light coming in as a beam, just like if you'd be at a concert, right? Yeah, that is something else. And when you go back, and
very funny. It was kind of oh my God! Well, of course. This explains it.
No electricity, you can't have it.
I bored many people with that story, because it really amused me that, and that's it's after a while, because now I'm not. Now I was part of the family, I would actually get the full scripts and sort of find out what the hell was going on. But up until then, I didn't know. Well,
that's a real nice testament about Bob as well too, because easily for those night scenes, that could have easily been read by as anyone standing in. Anybody could.
99% of the time, that's what it would be.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great. And he was always like that. He's always like that. He is such a hard worker. That's the thing about Ray too. And the reason that this goat thing happened, this goat thing that Rex talked about,
yep,
was I was on a text thread with Kara and Rex and Ray before I came to Albuquerque. I'd
Okay.
never met Kara or Rex.
Yeah.
I'd met Ray, but we were trying to figure out the timing for having a rehearsal. People don't rehearse in TV.
Sure.
But having a rehearsal at Ray's house when we all flew into town in the next day or something. And in that text thread, Kara said to Ray, "Oh, we got you something in Santa Fe."
Okay.
And I, because I'm obnoxious, wrote, "I want a present too." So when I came, they gave me, this was the tchotchke that they gave me. And when they gave it to me, I thought, well, all right, okay, thank you. Great. What am I going to do with this? Well, I ended up taking a lot of pictures of it,
Okay.
making little movies of it, and just to amuse Rex and Kara, who are absolutely terrific, wonderful people.
They certainly are. I talked that week that Rex was on the show. I think I talked to him about 5 or 6 times. It was amazing. Like, there's a 3-hour time difference between, his time zone and mine.
What were you talking about?
That goat. And of course, talking about we're talking drums and guitar. We talked about everything.
Oh yeah, that thing about the drums is a beautiful story about him and Reba.
Yeah. He actually called me in character, literally out of the clear blue. He told me he was going to be calling me during that week. And I never know when to expect his call.
Yeah.
And the first call I got was an unknown number because I didn't have in my contacts yet. I almost didn't answer the phone. I get these long distance calls sometimes. I don't know them. I'm not answering them. And I said Los Angeles. I'm like, I'm going to take a chance, right? I thought maybe I want to trip around, to the States or something. It's this is Kevin Wattell. I'm here from Mesa Verde. I heard you're looking for a loan. I played along with it right away. Yeah, I'm looking at a new Camaro. Mine's getting old. And then we talked for about 10 minutes in character. And I'm finally like, all right, let's get down to business. But he treated me like he was my long lost buddy. And it just got better and better and better. He called me one night. He goes, "Oh, I'm sorry to call you so late. I know it's probably your bedtime in Canada." And I even missed a call with him one night because I was in bed right after.
He was being really irritating. So after a while, did you say, "Okay, enough with the joke"?
I think I've blocked him now. I think he's blocked on my cell phone. So
that's the only way to deal with it.
Yeah.
He talks so much. If he went to Florida, his tongue would get sunburned.
That's a good one. I like that one. Yeah, that's a good one. I'll save that one. I'll go back and I'll timestamp this for sure. We're going to jump into some audio questions here momentarily, and I think a couple of them are going to be repeats, kind of one another. But each person that submitted them, they're all from ladies tonight. They're similar, but there's enough difference between them. But before I do that, there is a super chat from Lisa Love. It says, "Did you find it strange when Kim went back in to negotiate? Both of you guys went in to working with Mesa Verde. She didn't ask you first, and you just followed. Rich basically agreed with everything Kim said to him. Yeah, she really took the bull by the horns, went in there. Rich followed along. But did you find that strange how that scene happened?"
No, because it was always her baby.
Right.
I think I was just there to make sure everything worked out fine. It's kind of the way that I thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
I really did think it's her. I mean, when she and I went to their office, is that what she's?
Yeah.
The scene where the two of us go to the office and then we don't know what to do. And then she comes up with an idea. And
exactly.
I go along with it. Yeah. I did think at the end of that scene, I was a little bit, I thought maybe she'd gone overboard.
Yeah. By the way, that's probably Rex texting you right now.
No, it's my friends.
Okay. Keep going. Sorry.
Excited about McCarthy's phone call.
Okay. Going back into the office. So
yeah, when we went back to the office, I think that I was a little like, she's maybe gone a little bit overboard, but I'm going to go with her anyway. She was really motoring that whole scene. She and I were walking, and I said, "What are we going to do? What are we going to do?" She marched away from me,
yeah,
which I thought was a great choice, and I just sort of had to follow her. I these questions about my experience, my feeling about her. I think that I always felt that she was a very, very good lawyer,
yeah,
and that she was not. There was something wrong. There was something clearly. I wanted to have some sort of intervention with her because clearly there was something that was not right. And, I was right.
Never a follower, a leader. She was a leader for sure.
Oh, yeah. Or a bit of a rebel.
Yeah, exactly. And we're seeing more. We're seeing that now, especially to the tail end of season 5. And that we're going to see what get to that. Yeah. That's right. Exactly. There was something else I was going to put. We talked about this off the air. That was that magic scene too that Tom wrote. Basically, like, okay, so it all went good. Kevin says, "Okay, we'll see you Thursday." And you're like, "All right, Kevin. All right. Well, we'll get out of your hair." And that was just such a funny moment, right? A person, that he talks about with that, there's a little bit of the shininess he has up there, and get out of the hair. That was a good one. A nice play on words for sure. Yeah. We're going to jump now over to the audio section. So I have it in order. This is from Karina. Karina is one of our 2 head moderators. She has some other great people working with us as well.
All these people in Canada?
No, they're all around the world. Karina is from the States, and Lori is from, I believe, from Michigan. And we've got a couple others. I'm not 100% sure, but some of the questions that have come in tonight, we talked about Nat Romero earlier. She's over in Barcelona, Spain.
Wow.
It's around the world. People are staying up to 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning overseas right now to see this.
Oh,
yeah.
Hello. Time to go to bed, everybody.
Exactly. So this is from Karina, queued up, ready to go for you. And there are going to be some similarities here, but we'll get through them and there'll be some.
Say the same answer.
Yeah, very much. Yep.
Hi, Dennis. My name is Karina. My question is, how did you get started narrating audiobooks? Seems like you have a very busy side career with that, and you do have a great voice for it. Thank you from a fellow Greek.
From a fellow Greek.
Thank you, Karina. I'm actually half Greek and half Jewish.
Yep.
I go to confession, but I bring a lawyer.
She pointed that out too. And she said, I got to tell you this, because she says her last name is Liaukos, if I'm pronouncing it right. So Liakos. She says, I was blessed with a short Greek name.
Yes. Yeah. Greek names are tough. I could tell you a story about that, but I won't.
Okay.
Audiobooks. I've done about 150 of them. And thank you for telling me I have a nice voice for it. I fell into it. It was, I was doing a hit play called Sight Unseen off Broadway, and I was playing a Jewish artist. And there was a book at Simon & Schuster that had the main character was a Jewish artist. And Simon & Schuster asked me to do it, and I did it. I was scared to death because slowly but surely it snowballed into, I've done a couple of Philip Roth titles. I've done Don DeLillo. I've done John Grisham, and 3 or 4 of his books I did at one point. I did the Mueller Report.
Mm-hmm.
I did it for the Washington Post. It was this sort of army. There was about 4 or 5 of us all over the city, taking different sections of it the day that it came out, so that the next day it would be available as an audiobook from the Washington Post. So I did the Russian section, if you know your Mueller Report.
Okay.
And things like that, and I've done also really terrible books.
Have you?
I mean, just books you go, who would want? But people.
I guess, right?
And I've also, there's some people who hate my voice.
Really?
I've got yes. Well, reviews like on Amazon or Audible.
Yeah.
You never want to read them, but occasionally I do, and it's just sometimes people just can't stand your pronunciations and things like that. But anyway.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Much. And I'm trying to think if I've done one recently. I did Paul Simon's biography last year.
Nice.
Which is kind of interesting. Except in that book, at one point, the guy does the lyrics to some of the songs. Like he'll talk about something, and then there's a page, and I had to read them. Like, "Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you." Just like, shoot me.
Exactly. Yeah, that's like narrating like a Metallica Seek and Destroy. We're searching.
When you read
Seek and Destroy,
sometimes they don't really stand up on their own.
No, that's right. We come from Never Neverland.
I also did, just to finish this, I did a couple of years, like 2 years ago, I was picked as the best audiobook of the year by Amazon for a book called The Gene by Siddhartha Mukherjee, an amazing science book. So.
Nice. And I think we're actually going to have a question about one of the awards as well, too. Just before I go to that, the Saul Goodman Twitter is jumping in. It says, Dennis, Eric, everyone in chat. This is a super chat from him. Just stopping to say hello and supporting the show. Still recovering from COVID complications. Love to you all. Yeah, had some heart complications after recuperating from COVID. So we're wishing Saul Goodman Twitter the best of recovery.
Yeah, man.
Yes. So here comes another audio question, and this is from Lori, and it's going to be very similar to the audiobooks, but we'll see what's different about it. This is from Lori. And by the way, Karina is in Annapolis, Maryland.
Oh, cool.
Hello there, Dennis. This is Lori. I know that you've done a lot of audiobooks and received several awards for your work. Could you tell us how all of that started? Do you have a favorite or special one that comes to mind? And what made Frank Muller your favorite narrator? Thank you so much.
Good. So we touched base on that. And was there something that made it your favorite?
Frank Muller. Well, he tragically, I think he was hit by a car. There was some terrible accident. He passed away. And he was Stephen King's favorite narrator.
Okay.
And so that's how I heard him, because then I became Stephen King's narrator for 2 or 3 of his books. And that's actually one of my favorites. I'd never, just like I had never watched Breaking Bad until my nose was rubbed in it. And I went, oh my God, this is spectacular. I never read a Stephen King book. It never really appealed to me. And then when I had to read one out loud, I realized what was so great about them. And it wasn't just sort of plot storyline. It was also he had a fantastical imagination and a great use of language. So it was fun. I did one called Firestarter, which I was proud of, and I can't remember the other one. And then the Philip Roth books I'm very proud of. I did one called Nemesis. I did one called American Pastoral. And it's always good to do a great writer like Philip Roth, because it's easy to read.
Yeah.
When you read somebody who's not a good writer, you realize, one, they didn't read it out loud to see how clumsy it is, or that they repeated the same word here that they're doing now 3 lines down. There's an engineer in New York in the audiobook, in the fast-paced world of audiobook, who says that in every audiobook there's a horse. And so when you're reading a book and there's a horse, like, people go, oh, a horse. It's like a big thing.
Okay.
That's the fun stuff in the audiobook world.
Yeah.
Can I tell you a quick story about it?
Sure, please.
So I did a book called American Sucker by David Denby, who used to be the film critic for The New Yorker. It was about him losing all his money in the stock market.
Okay.
It was a great book. I read it. I was really impressed with it. I saw that he was doing an in-store reading and the signing of his book. I thought, I'll go see it, and I'd like to meet him. So I go to see it. I stand in line like everybody else, and I'm not thinking clearly. I'm just not thinking. And I get to him, and he says, "Hi, how you doing?" I say, "Hi, I'm the guy who read your book."
Like, literally, he's thinking read.
He goes, "Yeah, did you like it?" And I said, No. Now I feel stupid. I said, No, I read it out loud.
Okay, good,
like,
thanks.
I'm so clumsy. I said, and he said, And so finally his handler said, no, he read the audiobook, and he didn't really understand that, thinking I was a person who read. So I said, never mind. Nice to meet you.
Oh, jeez.
The disaster. I'm the guy who read your book, like a schmuck. I'm the guy who read your book.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think a couple other people read it too.
Yeah. Goodbye. Next.
You know what they say, like, when you're like trying to prepare for an exam, you're in, like, whether, a test at school or whatever, writing makes you remember. But I don't read a lot. I tend to do a lot of audiobooks. A lot of times when I used to travel back before the pandemic, I would listen to books on tape in the car all the time, audiobooks, and I would retain a lot of it. But I imagine reading a book out loud would really make you remember that story more. No, or yes or no?
No, not for me.
Okay.
I mean, maybe it's because it's not just reading. You're doing a lot of things other than reading.
Worrying about your voice.
You're worrying about your voice. You're worried, did my stomach just growl? Where am I in the page? Did I pronounce that word correctly? Does the person behind the window hate me? Do I hate myself?
Yeah.
Did I say what's written on the page and not what I'm thinking?
That makes sense.
Literally, there's a million things going on. And so, it's kind of, I think of it as sort of eye mouth, and the brain is back here sort of missing out. It's kind of, it's like I could go home after reading 6 or 7 hours at a studio and go, I have no idea what I read. I don't know. It's because and also, a lot of times you stop for pronunciations.
And then you forgot where you were.
And so you have no flow, you know what I mean? So it's more about getting the pronunciation right. And so no, it's not, I'm good at it, I think, because I've done it enough, but it's not as enjoyable as I would like it to be sometimes, because it's just within the first 15 minutes, you think, oh Lordy, I'm going to be here for the next 5 days reading this, and I'm exhausted already,
Yeah. I'm really glad though you explained it like that too, happening about these outside factors, because the same thing happens here on the show. As much as it looks like I know what I'm doing here, and I'm taking everything.
It doesn't really look like you know what you're doing.
Well, true. Thank you for your honesty. I've got 5 screens going. And I'm worried about train wrecks, right? Because in the live nature of shows, there's train wrecks. Fortunately, knock on wood, Canadian wood here right now, everything's been going good. But people will say to me after, they'll say, oh, that was so cool when Dennis said such and such, or that was so cool when Vince said this on your show. I'm like, they said that on my show? And I don't remember it because I'm so focused and I'm trying to pay attention and try to nod. Yes, I'm hearing you, but I'm always worried about the train wrecks, right? So
did you read, when I read interviews with David Letterman, when he wrapped up his show, he said the reason he wraps it up is he realized he'd go home to Connecticut and his wife would say who was on the show and he couldn't remember.
Right. Yeah.
So, it's,
yeah. I mean, that's a good problem to have at the same time.
I noticed, by the way, that I don't look bald like Rex did.
You look
Rex
you have
really
luxurious hair going on. It's like the more the show goes on, you're growing more as we speak. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rex. Oh, wait, we got 2 more audio questions here as well. This one is from Sharon D, and I believe they're going to be possibly audio.
Name again? That's a beautiful name.
Sharon D, yeah. I think it's from Sherry and Randy, her parents. I think that's why they named her.
It's Sharon D.
She also goes by Blazy Gardner on Twitter as well, too.
Blazy Gardner.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Hi, Dennis. Thank you for being with us tonight. I'm Sharon D from North Carolina, and I know you do narration of audiobooks. You've won several awards. And your book, your narration of the book, The Gene, was selected as Best Audiobook of the Year by Amazon. So my question for you is, what is your favorite type of book to narrate? And is there a book out there that you would love to do that you haven't had the opportunity yet? Thank you for being with us. Hope you have a great night.
That's a good one.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, by the way, for mentioning that. Yeah, like I said, it was selected Audiobook of the Year. Siddhartha Mukherjee, who wrote The Gene, also wrote The Emperor of All Maladies, which is the book about cancer that they made a series about.
Okay.
He's a doctor. And that, my favorite kind of book to read now these days is nonfiction, mostly because I'm terrible with accents. A lot of actors, there are actors, not a lot, but there are actors who can, do a French accent, and a German accent. And, I pretty much have this louder or softer. This is my accent right here.
Yeah.
So nonfiction books tend to not have characters, that you have to. So I'm a little more comfortable with nonfiction. I mean, I do fiction books, but nonfiction. Well, I forget that there was something else in there. Like, is there a book I want to do that? I mean, there are some classic books that I would love to tackle. But for me to say them would sound so pretentious.
Well, like Green Eggs and Ham, or.
See, that's the thing. If you've ever read to young children, if you sit down and say, okay, I'm going to read you a story before you go to bed, and you've fallen asleep while you're reading to the kid, and the kid gives you a thing.
Oh, yeah. Or do you
that's
just skip?
What it's like reading an audiobook.
I bet.
You don't know. I've been very sleepy in studios, just like thinking, oh God, this is.
Have you ever tried to do like we do with the kids sometime? You really want to get them to sleep and you skip pages. Oh, good. And they live happily ever after. Good night.
Yeah.
Yeah, skip a chapter. Yeah. Yeah, and all of a sudden then you notice that your paycheck is about 5 pages less too, right?
No, I don't get paid by the word anymore.
No, okay. All right, we'll jump over to another one here as well. This is from Kathy, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her last name right. Ladas, Ladas, one of our friends here as well too, and we'll see what she has to say. I forget what hers was about.
Hi, Dennis and Eric. This is Kathy from Florida. Dennis, in Season 5, Episode 6, Wexler versus McGill, the scene where Kim apologizes to Rich for her behavior the day before. I love Rich's professionalism in how he responds to her apology. Could you share your thoughts on this scene with us? By the way, thank you, because if it wasn't for you, I never ever would have tried a Moscow Mule.
Very nice.
I had no idea what a Moscow Mule was till I got there. And in fact, I had to add, this shows you my ignorance. I didn't even understand the whole thing about them being in copper bowls, and I had to ask about it. And of course, like anything, like when you learn a new word and then all of a sudden you hear it everywhere you go. Yeah, everywhere I see it, when you used to be able to walk around New York, there were signs in front of the stores of Moscow Mules in a copper mug. So, my thoughts about, I think we've talked
touch
about
base,
yeah.
I
thought about it was I wanted her. I was glad she apologized. I was really glad she apologized and I was sorry that I feel like I was so snippy with her, telling her that I didn't buy her what she was doing.
Yeah,
clearly there was something off, and I probably could have handled it better, but I was upset. And so I was glad I'm glad she copped to it, but there was also something in the back of my mind that there's something still off, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I mean, that happens in any workplace. I mean, you might have an employee that you're very, very close with, or a colleague, and, all of a sudden you just have a big fight, and you work it out, and either the dynamic gets even better or goes the opposite direction. But I think it was a very interesting, brief turning point there for a moment. And then, how also too, the two of you walked off and made sure everyone was seen, saw you.
Everyone saw us go off to lunch. Yeah, that was important as well. Yeah.
Restore the morale.
Yeah. I don't think they showed, see, that's another thing. I think there was more to that exit than they shot.
Okay.
I mean, that they showed. So interesting, the choices that they make, and they're always fantastic. I mean, I have no quibble with it at all.
Yeah, I don't know if we talked. This is one of those things where we talk about waiting for potential train wrecks, and we forget if I've asked you a question or not. This is from the Vivid Kiwi, and I know you and I talked about this either off the air or maybe we started at the top. Did we address this on the air about who is Coakley? Did we? I don't know if we talked about.
I don't remember, but Schweikart and Coakley, we would make a joke that Coakley was dead.
Okay.
And I would say he's just like Marley of Scrooge and Marley.
Yes.
And they'd be Schweikart and Schweikart.
There you go.
Or Schweikart and what's her last name? Rexley.
Right. Yeah.
No, just Schweikart. What am I doing? What am I doing? I'm giving billing to her.
Yeah, that's from the Vivid Kiwi. Vivid Kiwi does some great Better Call Saul theories. You got to check out that channel. So that was a question from him.
I will.
A question from Bob Rich earlier. I didn't get a chance to ask Bob. Bob's a writer himself. Says, Dennis, you've been in great shows focused on law, mysteries, and crime, such as The X-Files, The Fugitive, Monk, Dragnet, and CSI. What are the unique qualities of Better Call Saul that make it distinctive? Family being one of them, but yeah. What do you think that makes it stand out as unique?
Well, first of all, I was in Dragnet. Maybe I was. I think there was a version of Dragnet that I did an episode of. Okay, 6 of those things I don't remember anything about. The answer is the writing.
Yes.
The writing in name those shows again.
It says X-Files, Fugitive.
Stop. X-Files was Vince. The first time that I worked with Vince, or that I didn't know that I worked with Vince, it was his script. Was an episode of the X-Files that I did.
Okay.
And I remember thinking, this is kind of great. And also, it was also another set that had a very positive vibe, a little silly. There was a lot of joking going on. But the show was called, if you want to look for it, the episode was called Smoke.
Okay.
And I didn't realize that I had worked with him until the one time that I had a conversation with Vince Gilligan at a rap party at the end of the 4th season. And he reminded me of that. And there was an actor in there that had to have bugs. I think the storyline was there was bugs in the tobacco, and when people smoked the tobacco, the bugs would come alive, and then it would get into their lungs, and then they would get, I don't know, something X-File-ish.
Yeah.
And this poor actor, I forget his name, but he had to put stuff to block up his ears and block up his nose, keep his mouth closed, and they had real show business bugs like to crawl all over him. I said, this poor clown. I would say get another. This is not on my contract.
Yeah,
that was the X-Files, and this again. This was sort of pre-CGI. I mean, you couldn't these days. You'd CGI. What were the other law shows that you meant?
Dragnet, CSI. Dragnet and CSI, and of The Fugitive.
CSI, I was just on a TV monitor. I was the head of a cult or something on a TV monitor. And that was a show. It's a perfect example of, I'm sure I'm shooting myself in the foot here, but it was a perfect example of a show where, the guy would go, Michael, could you move it's Dennis. Yeah. Okay, Michael, could you move to it was not a very good experience.
Yeah. But yeah, you've had so many different roles. I mean, I've made a list of them tonight. We'll talk about it more. Again, you know what? The thing is, I have probably about 10 questions of my own that I didn't even ask. And I don't mind that. I'd rather ask questions from our audience here. But that means I can invite you back. And I know the fans would love to have you here.
That's it. I'm done.
Are you done? Well, how about you do an audiobook of tonight's episode? How about you do that?
Oh, yeah, the scripted version of it?
Yeah, all right. I'll send you my
One of
script.
your questions. I'd love to hear one.
Oh no, it's good. We're gonna be wrapping up in a moment, and it's more so for the viewers here. We can ask you one more here from Shawshank Vichari though. Shawshank says, "How do you think Richard would have computed Kim's decision of leaving Schweikart and Coakley?" So obviously you'd never wanted to lose her. You wanted to get her so bad in the firm, but how would you compute the decision to leave?
I'm not sure what you mean by compute, but I think I was devastated.
Right.
I think they meant for me to be devastated. And I don't remember whether the line was left in, but when she walked away from me, the line that was written for me was, "Please, you don't have to do this." And I don't think that was left into the final cut.
Right.
And that was probably for time and not, or it could be for performance. I mean, you never know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure it was for time, because that, I didn't want her to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't want her to go.
Yeah.
So I think that's how he felt. Who knows if she's going to need him in the future? Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen to her?
I know.
Who knows what's going to happen to anybody? I just, that last episode of the last episode of season 5 was one of the scariest things I've ever watched. I mean, just thought it was great. And I just want to say one other thing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the episode, because I remember last week you were talking about favorite episodes. The episode, the last episode of season 3, before Chuck died, in the courtroom, that courtroom scene, I thought Bob should have gotten an Emmy for that. I thought Michael McKean should have gotten an Emmy for that. And I do think that Ray should be Emmy nominated every year.
And why, right? Well, I mean, everyone knows she's the greatest thing on television. Like, as we wrap up,
the New York Times ran a thing about people who were snubbed in the Emmy Awards just a few days ago, and they mentioned her. You know, I think we got nominated in the SAG Awards as Best Ensemble, which is awfully nice.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
Ray deserves to be. I mean, Ray can do anything.
She can.
I'm really very, very impressed with her.
That's right. Well, I made a note here on this somewhere in my script. I can't dig it up, but I made a note basically saying that this show could be all about Rhea Seehorn. This show here could be strictly, a patronage to Rhea Seehorn, and fans would still watch it every single week.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that question comes up, but probably my last 5 guests has been focusing on, questions about Ray. Everyone has the greatest things to say about her. And when she come on the one time, she's been on twice. Before going on the air, we started talking about 70s furniture because we come from the same, upbringing. His parents had dangerous furniture. We could have dedicated an entire episode to cutting our knees, falling through glass coffee tables, stereos with the lids, we had a great time just with that alone. Yeah, she's wonderful. Well, listen, you have been an absolute pleasure this evening. This is a great way to warm up a Friday evening and for people's weekends. I will extend the invitation. I know you've already told me you never want to have anything to do with me again. You're never coming back. But I'm Canadian, and I'm going to ask you very nicely.
Tell the same stories, though. I got nothing else.
Oh, no. We got lots more questions. The fans will have more as well, because actually we had to turn away a few questions tonight. So we'll invite you back when you have some time. And it looks like what we're being told, second week in March, the filming is beginning. So...
this is the rumor.
That's right. Let's keep our fingers crossed. And I think Bob might have started that.
And everybody stays healthy out there. And thank you very much, everyone, for your questions. It was delightful. I appreciate it.
Thank you as well. Just a few thank yous as well here too. Obviously to you, Dennis, for coming on. And I always have to make notes because sometimes I forget. I want to thank our friends Warren and Rachel at bobbleheads.com. They bring you all those cool. You can probably see them in the back. You can't see them, but the fans can. The Better Call Saul bobbleheads. We want to thank our channel members, our Patreon supporters, our channel moderators, YouTube subscribers, super chatters, PayPal donators, and people that buy our merch here at the Broad Stash Boutique. We also want to encourage you to hit the subscribe button down below if you haven't done so already. We work just as hard to keep you as a subscriber as we did to get you. And we'd like to welcome everyone to our show next week, 9 p.m. Eastern. We have Edward and Mark, owners of the Breaking Bad store and ABQ to the program. Be sure to check us out on Instagram and Facebook at Inside The Gilliverse. That is everything. We wish you a look at that. There you go. There you go. Better Call Saul represent.
Does everybody have one of these?
Let me have a look at that. Oh, that's badass. Better Call Saul bingo. I love it. Nice. Where did you get that?
They were actually they were sent to me. Somebody found them and sent them to me. But there's a bunch of them on Twitter somewhere. I guess AMC made them.
Okay.
It was nice to see my that was on my bucket list, being a bingo card.
But there you did it. Being on a bingo card was never really in your bingo card, was it?
No.
I've been waiting for the opportunity to say that all day. Listen, thanks so much, everyone. We will see you next week. And don't go away, Rich. I'll say goodbye to Rich. I'm going to say goodbye to Rich. Don't go away, Dennis. And we'll say goodbye to you off the air. Everyone, we'll see you next time right here on Inside the Gilliverse. And until then, cheers.
Thanks again for tuning into Inside the Gilliverse with Eric Broadbent. Be sure to check back each week for more great discussions and interviews with cast and crew from Breaking Bad, El Camino, and Better Call Saul. Please like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends.